How's it going, everyone? So, little note beforehand, this is going to be technically the second episode where we're going to talk about Avengers, and I got a chance to talk with one of my favorite people. I would consider him my Australian superhero. James it's always fun to talk with him. So, it's going to be a fun episode. But one note is we did have some technical issues just as we were finishing our discussion. So we had to do a little fandangling, and we got something. So towards the end, you might hear some weirdness, but one more episode of us just geeking out on Avengers, and then we'll go back to normal. But it's always fun to talk to these guys. So let's get on with the show. And welcome back to another episode of the Convoluted Podcast. It's your host, Jesus, aka Tyrant Dominus, and we have another episode. And once again, we're talking about Endgame. It is honestly the biggest thing probably of this year. So I've been hunting for people to talk to about it, and I want to get different perspective. And today we have a returning guest, one of my favorite guests from Down Under. Go ahead and introduce yourself.
Your favorite guest? Well, that's an honor, Jesus. Thank you very much. At least from Australia, anyway. Hi, I'm James Buckley. As Jesus said, I'm from Down Under, down in Australia, and I host the Superhero Strength podcast, which is a podcast where I talk with the fitness trainers and stunt doubles for most of your favorite superhero actors, really. So pretty much a lot of the Avengers and a lot of also other DC characters as well.
Yes, it's a very informative show. I listen when I get a chance. It's very, very it's like entertaining and a little bit educational too. It's weird.
Thanks, man.
That's kind of
yeah. And that's the intention as well. It's sort of for people that are into comic books and also into training and want to learn a little bit about what our favorite superhero actors do to get in shape, because they get in phenomenal shape, and a lot of people want to know what they did to do that. And so instead of just looking at videos or articles where people speculate on it, I figured let's get to the source of it all and find out from the people that actually helped helped them on their way.
So anyone who wants to find out a little bit more about how these actors get in shape and hear about their trainer stories, go ahead, check out his podcast. I'll have links below. It's I vouch for James's show. It's really fun.
It has the Jesus, the Tyrant Dominus, the Tyrant Dominus seal of approval. Exactly.
Either way it works. You got two seals. You got Jesus and Tyrant Dominus.
That's it. Thank you.
But no, okay. So let's get, because we're gonna be talking Endgame, and it's such a long film. It's gonna be hard to cut short. And I know you're a very busy person and father, so.
I know. It's just, and that just makes it even harder. But it's good. But it's a good
thing. Yeah. So also check him out on Instagram. He makes you want and motivate. You have a very motivational Instagram.
Oh, thanks, Jesus.
But yeah. So like I said, links below. So let's talk Endgame. So
let's do this.
All right. So my first question is, how many times have you seen the film?
Only once.
Okay.
I've been wanting to go a second time. I was lucky enough to see it before, 99% of the world, which was good. I got to see it a day early to, help avoid the spoilers and everything like that. It's a good thing when you're friends with the owner of your local cinema, who is also a fan. So yeah,
right.
Yeah. I've only seen it once so far, but in my head and listening to other podcasts. I've just been analyzing it and, reliving it as well and things like that.
All right.
So, yeah.
Okay. So I want to say one thing, because since you are like you're technically in the future for us.
Yeah, I know.
I was, like I said, I was scrolling through Instagram because I was honestly trying to stay away from spoilers, and I accidentally almost read your review of it, and I stop myself, because you watched it ahead of us, and I was going to see it later that night, and I was like, I gotta wait, and I got a chance to read it afterwards.
I don't think I said anything though. I think I just said it was awesome because I just put up one little thing on my Instagram stories, I think, and because I was very mindful of that, of avoiding anything, especially with these sort of movies. Like no one wants to know anything going in now. I mean, like, they even had that whole marketing campaign about don't spoil the end game. And I think with how after seeing the movie and then remembering the trailers, they spoiled absolutely nothing. Like the trailers are just from the first act. All the footage from the trailers is just from the first act. We know nothing at all about what this movie is even about. And so I that's something I was very conscious of as well, with letting people know, like, not saying anything really, just saying it's great, go see it, which you would anyway.
Exactly. But no, yeah. Okay. Let's get started. Oh god.
Yeah.
This film, and this film. Okay, so I'm gonna give you a heads up. To this day, I've seen the film 3 times already.
Nice.
I'm about to see it one more time later this weekend, and I think at most I'm gonna see it at least 5 times before it gets out of cinema. That's my goal, because it is a film. I will attest that it is a film that it took a long time to get here, and for any regular moviegoer, they might not get the most out of this specific film that someone like ourselves, who have been along for the ride for so long and are invested in these characters, that it was a roller coaster of a ride to get to this point.
Absolutely. And like you said, like, this is not if you're just coming into the Marvel universe, this is not the movie you start with. Like, this is something, like you said, they've been building up to this. I mean, it's the 22nd movie, and it's, and, I don't know how much you want to get into it right now, but like, there's just so many callbacks to so many different previous movies, going all the way back to Iron Man 1. There's references, there's callbacks and things like that. Because we've just been so invested, like you said, with these characters for 11 years now, and it's just it's just this culmination of 11 years, 22 movies, which, and you really will understand most of it or all of it if you do go back and watch it from the start.
Yes. So it's hard to talk about this film. Okay, it's hard and not hard. So when trying to discuss it as far as like a podcast format, because there's so much, I want to try to figure out where we want to start. Do we want us to start from the beginning, or you want to just start from the beginning?
Let's start from the beginning. Yeah, I haven't seen it, as many times as you, but I've got a pretty good memory of everything that happened. So
I actually liked how it opened, like the first scene with Hawkeye and his family. That was a good reminder for anyone who probably didn't like rewatch Infinity War going into the film. Like, I felt that was a good way to note, like, something extremely important just happened to the entire universe, and happening to a specific character. I don't know how maybe for you it felt a little different, since you are like a father, to probably have lost like your wife and child like that. Yeah. I don't know if it hit you differently.
No, it really it hit the mark for me. And there's a couple of point parts as well throughout the movie. As a dad now, things just hit me so differently to what they would have, beforehand. And that was one of them. I actually thought at first that opening scene until everyone disappeared was I actually thought it was after the snap, because it was so quiet and everything like that. I thought it was just them, having adjusted to this life in a post Thanos snap world. But then, when all of a sudden, when just his kids and family all disappear, that's my worst nightmare. And watching that happen to Hawkeye, it just made me think, how would I how would I react with something like that? You just be absolutely panicking and not knowing what the fuck is going on. Excuse me.
It's an emotional scene. It's an emotional scene. No, I'm not gonna. I'll give you that. It's a very emotional scene, and for someone like yourself, I think it holds a little bit more gravity to that compared to someone who doesn't have that. Like, everyone has that sense of family, but I think once you have not only your significant other but also a child, I think it's always been said you can only emulate. You can't perfectly be there unless you do have that. So
that's right.
So that was a really good way to start the film. And
then, it's a way to start it. It's a human aspect in a way, which is we watch all these superhumans all the time and everything like that. It's just bringing it back to earth and showing this human connection, really.
Okay, actually, that's the best way to put it. Yeah, that's a very human connection. So now going into everyone kind of getting back together. Marvel. Captain Marvel comes and saves Tony. The scene with Tony and Nebula, I felt that was very interesting. How they were just kind of wandering space, trying to get back home in their last moments. It was interesting. Then getting Captain Marvel to kind of rescue them, and then everyone finally getting back together who was still surviving, and kind of having Tony not overreact. He had the proper reaction to Steve. After post snap, all that. Yeah,
because he's still pissed. They still have they still have a beef, really, and like Tony says, he wanted to put that the chain of armor or something like that around the planet, and I guess that was sort of what the whole Ultron thing was supposed to do, and maybe if that had have succeeded, maybe this whole thing wouldn't have happened.
Exactly. So it's interesting because people have to remember that time Tony and Steve still haven't made up. They're still on ends. So, and then so much happens in those hours. It only was hours from, because people sometimes forget. No, it's been days because they were stuck in space, but hours from the events from Tony being in New York when Ebony Maw and the rest come and try to take the Time Stone, to when they meet up with Thanos back in Infinity War, and that's a good chunk of hours. Then to being stuck in space for days, and then finally meeting up with everyone, that and then losing just about everyone, losing Spider-Man, and that it's a lot. It's a lot too. Yeah. And on top of that, he's been this is another thing interesting because of how these films were put together. Throughout all the films, you can see the mental strain of how Tony has been throughout the movies, and his little things. He's been on edge ever since what was it? The first Avengers with the Chitauri.
Since the end. Yeah, with the Chitauri army, when he goes up into space for that time, he's been on edge all since then.
So it's he's more than given himself to this and all this. So that's another way to humanize a person, is he's just had it.
It's
And
proof
then-
that Tony Stark has a heart. As a callback to the first movie.
Yeah. But then everyone kind of gets back together, and then it's time to go, kill Thanos. And what was interesting is that, and I want to hear what your thoughts is. Like, what was your thoughts once they found him, like, and they went and faced off with him, and then they just killed him off, like in the first 15 minutes of the film, give or take. What was your like?
It was unexpected, that's for sure. Like I was just like, okay. So all of a sudden, and I think that was the point of that whole thing was like that. I guess it's telling us, this is not going to go how you think. It was just like, wow, right. I did not see that coming at all. I mean, I didn't know what the hell was going to happen, but I didn't see that happening. And, but when you think about it, I mean, like Thor because he's the one that cuts Thanos' head off. Of course he's going to do that. I mean, the dude is pissed. He's damaged after this whole thing. It's been a month, and he's. And we'll probably get into more of Thor in a bit, it's a pretty, it's something that is with his character, I guess, that he would definitely do that. He would just cut his head off and just be like, well, I cut his head off just like he said.
Yeah, he did it, and then it was kind of it. It was around my second showing that one of my cousins I was with, he literally just went, okay, movie's over. Let's go home.
I think I thought that too, actually. I might have even said it as well.
Okay, before we keep going, let me ask you this. How was the atmosphere in your showing?
Well, pretty quiet. I mean, there was only like 20 of us. So it was I didn't have a whole cinema. But but that's that whole scene. In fact, like I think for a good chunk of that first movie, it's just so, the whole mood is very down and dour and everything like that. And we were just all silent. We, it's very, it's just very down, the whole thing, and depressing. And so we were just in silence.
Okay. So that they end up killing Thanos and everything. And if anyone's listening this far, yes, you guys should know this has been spoilers and everything.
Oh yeah, spoiler alert.
It's your own fault for listening this far.
But if you haven't seen the movie yet, I mean, come on! Like it's made over $1 billion, probably $2 billion by the time this episode comes out. Who hasn't seen it?
Yeah, I know. So then they do a very interesting thing, and then do a good 5-year time jump.
Yeah.
That surprised me a little bit, actually. Like that's a good chunk. That is a good chunk of time.
It's a massive. All of a sudden, this is like, whoa, okay, like that's changing the whole cinematic universe and everything by doing that.
Because it's the way the film's always worked. It's like it always was like around the same year that we were living as people, and now we have this massive jump, and then we get to see not only how Earth, but all our heroes have kind of grown in a sense. So we'll talk about each character individually. So we'll start with, it opens up with Cap. So it seems like Cap has been trying to work with the people in the local setting, trying to keep people's morale up, and I like that. It was a very It's a very Steve Rogers thing for him to do.
Yeah, he's doing what he can. I guess the world didn't necessarily need a superhero at the time, so he's doing whatever he can to be to be of service.
Exactly, and I think that was a good way to showcase him at that point. And then it transitions over to Black Widow, if I'm remembering right.
I think so. Yeah.
Yeah, and then you can see that she's trying to run everything and try to keep everyone in check for the most part, as we see her open with Rocket and Nebula, Captain Marvel, and Rhodey, and she's trying to just manage Earth and everything. Just like she's Fury at that point.
Yeah, kind of like I kind of got a felt like they're a bit of like the world police.
Kind of, yeah. There you go. That's a good way to put it. Yeah, she was trying to be the world police at that point because someone out there has to take care of things.
That's right.
It's interesting because then we get to see this kind of skipping a little bit, but yeah, this is kind of then seeing that like the way Thanos did it was he even said it himself that he's not killing specific people, he's doing it all at random. So when you see Hawkeye a little later and you see him killing murderers, I would believe, it's like it showcased like, yes, good people and bad people went away, and then and
he's taking out the bad.
Exactly. I wish we got to see a little bit more of his Hawkeye's, a little bit of his.
I would love to. I think there's a whole movie just in that, I mean, Hawkeye's one of my favorite characters in this movie. Just he probably has one of the best arcs, I think.
We're talking about Hulk, right?
Sorry.
Wait, who are we talking about now?
Oh, I was talking about Hawkeye.
Hawkeye, yes, because
Did I say Hulk? I didn't mean to. Sorry.
No, Clint. Oh, yeah, Clint. I think he. Yeah, because what's interesting about like for all the jokes for Hawkeye or Clint is like he's never had his own film, so you had to character build him within other people. So he was always playing kind of second fiddle, but whenever he had a scene, it was him really, and I think having this kind of close for him was really good. Like this is a very good way to close his story. Yeah,
I agree. If it is closed,
that is true. So then we'll hop in then because then we jumped a little bit, but we'll hop into Ant-Man because Ant-Man is the one who kind of saves the day for the most part.
Yeah, I love Ant-Man.
So,
and I love that. I love how he just comes out of the quantum realm as well, just from the randomness of a rat walking over the machine. There, it's like, well, how else is it going to happen? I guess, but I just love that. Some Deus Ex Machina had to do it. So yeah. It was interesting also because that's a good way to also show off someone who's been gone for so long, like realizing like what just happened. For him, like he said, he was only gone for 5 hours, but the world has skipped for 5 years. He's lost, and then seeing his daughter, that was another strong scene, because that's time lost. Yeah, and
the only way I could probably express that, and it's a sad way to put it, but I think it's the best way, is for people who are like in prison and are there for like X amount of years and then coming back into society. I think that's the only way I can bestly express that. It's not the nicest way to express it, but I think that's the best way.
That's a really good point. Yeah. Just coming back and she's what, like 17 now or something like that. It's just crazy. And that's a really good way of putting it.
So that was interesting because then he, for the most part, he didn't really get too much showcase. He was kind of just like the funny man here and there, which is fine.
He does it so well. He just does it so well. So it
worked. I think that's the best way they could have used his character. Like when it was his time, it worked, and they didn't like overuse them. And the whole scene during them trying to figure out how to time travel, when Hulk was trying to do it. Actually, before we talk with Hulk, let's talk Tony a little bit because because that was another good surprise. Is Tony and Pepper are together now? They have a child.
They have a daughter. Yeah, and he just wants to have nothing to do with it now. He just wants to be a dad.
Yeah, I mean, it's I don't know, because it's a fun scene for me. It's a fun scene. I don't know. Maybe you had a different different thought on that a little bit.
Well, so we talk about when he's there, and then when the others come to him to talk about the time heist and everything like
the
that.
Time heist.
Yeah,
the time heist. Yeah.
Which I love that. I love that. Yeah. Well, I totally understood everything that Tony was thinking and his reasoning. Like when so they come to him and they're like, hey, we need help with this time heist, and he's like, I want nothing to do with it. And I would probably be that way too. I know, billions of other people have probably lost their kids and everything like that. But in this whole thing, he has now got his own kid that's been born after the snap. And if I was in his situation, I don't think I would, want to, I wouldn't be able to help as well, like to go back and reverse time for the chance of reversing everything that happened and then losing my daughter. I wouldn't be able to do that either. So like when he's saying, nope, don't want nothing to do with it, guys, you're on your own. Yeah, I completely understood. And I guess it's very selfish in a way of Tony, but it's very human. And yeah,
it was another wonderful scene. So then we'll hop into the next scientist they have to work with, which was Banner / Hulk or Professor Hulk. So what was your initial thoughts when you saw him?
I loved it. I just thought this is great. I haven't seen this version of Hulk in the comics. I haven't read many Hulk comics, so yeah, I don't know how much of this is a thing in it, but I loved it, and just how chilled out he is in the scene at the cafe with Ant-Man and taking the selfie and everything like that. He's just this local celebrity really as the Hulk. It's just hilarious. But between him and Ant-Man, those two. I can't even say that those are the only funny ones because we'll get to Thor, but they're some of the funniest though.
Yeah. Oh God. I think that was interesting because you got to see Mark Ruffalo's facial expressions a little bit more in Hulk now. Now that they're kind of unionized, I like that. It's fun. But now that it's time for the time heist, and Tony kind of agreed to he figures it out eventually because that's how smart of a man he is. Now it's time to get the group back together for the most part, and we talked about Hawkeye and how he got back, and now let's talk about Thor. Let's talk about Thor. So, what a man, or what a Asgardian.
Yeah.
So what's good is that they did this 5-year time jump. And you can see it really took a toll on him, mentally and physically.
Yeah, well, he's, the guy's suffering from, guilt, depression, PTSD, every single thing. I mean, and I'm sure a lot of them do, but he probably puts a lot of the blame on himself for, the last few minutes of Infinity War. People remember, Thor comes at Thanos with Stormbreaker with his axe, and could have taken him out, but the fact that he, but as Thanos said, you should have gone for the head. That would have taken him out, but it didn't. And with getting him in the chest, and he's just got this extreme guilt because of it.
And now he's like Fat Thor, and he's so Thor. Funny. Fat Thor. Oh man, all three of my showings, the crowd just had this. And then
you just don't expect it. No, yeah, and it's hilarious. It's a pretty fake looking fat suit, but it's still very funny.
It worked for this, and I'm glad they I'm also glad that they kind of kept it throughout the film. They didn't have this weird he's gonna get fit immediately thing.
I thought that would happen. I thought that would happen. When the scene, and I'm jumping ahead, but the scene where he I guess he gets Mjolnir and he calls the lightning and everything, and then he's in his Asgardian attire, the armor and everything like that. I thought, okay, he's going to be regular, ripped Thor again, and no, he's just chunky Thor. That's what I thought would happen. I kept thinking that would happen, but no, I thought it was great that they did keep him that way throughout the whole film.
All right. So now that they kind of got everyone together, they try to plan on who and where to go. So it's now time for the time heist. Let's start. We'll split this into groups because that's how they did it. So let's start with who was the first group? Was Iron Man, Ant-Man, Hulk, and Captain America going after the First Stone when they go back in time to, if I'm remembering this right, 2014 to the first Avengers.
2012.
Right? 2012. Thank you. Someone needs to correct me. If not you, the internet will.
They will.
They'll read me hard. But yes, that scene when they redo the whole team up, and that still to this day, that movie, that scene gives me chills. So seeing it here, it just had my heart racing.
And to be seeing it as well from a different perspective, kind of like, this, it's Back to the Future 2 sort of thing, which is clearly what they're going for, I think. But, to see that, from, as they're watching all of this going on, the other guys paying out, giving Captain America crap for his, for that uniform that he had, for that costume, which I think out of all of them, that 2012 Captain America original Avengers costume is probably the worst, I think. And the fact that they do give him crap for it is great.
Yeah, it's fun. So then
that's America's ass.
Exactly. So let's split them up again in that group. So we get them to split up because there's 3 stones in that area at that time. We'll go with Captain America first. So not only do we get like a Captain America mirror fight, which is like interesting, because they mentioned earlier that the way time travel works, they made so many funny references to other movies that deal with time travel.
All of them.
Just about
all the main ones.
Yeah, and I'm glad that they did it in a sense, because then that made it. They made the rules for time travel in this world. Until this moment, I still can't figure out how time travel works in this Marvel universe yet. I've listened to so many other shows and everything, and everyone's still baffled by it until something. I think we'll get something in Spider-Man, hopefully, to kind of answer a couple things, because the way it ends, there's still a lot of fixes and there's still a lot of things that happened during this time heist that makes me wonder what happened. So let's continue. So we had this mirror fight with Captain America, but before that, we got this very interesting, like almost elevator scene that we got back in Winter Soldier, which
was great.
Yes. So I honestly thought they were going to redo the elevator scene.
Yeah.
And then they did a nod to the Captain America that was part of Hydra. Ooh, that was good.
Yeah, that was from a couple of years ago, where they I guess in one of the comics, I don't know, was it Civil War 2? I can't remember, but where they Captain America says "Hail Hydra," and it's revealed that he was part of Hydra the whole time.
Oh god, that scene was that was good. And then he just walks away. He walks away, and then he fights himself, and then they make the joke of after he fights himself, you get the America's ass, and it's
that is America's ass.
It is. I think to this day it'll be funny if Chris Evans in his Twitter bio just has it America's ass. He should have done it.
You should.
So then we let's hop to Hulk and the Ancient One. So we get a scene of the Ancient One again, and that was interesting. I should have realized that they were going to use him because Stephen Strange was still not the Sorcerer Supreme at this point.
Yeah. But the fact that she knew the Ancient One knew of Doctor Strange, I guess she has the Time Stone on her, so she knows, I guess she knows everything, like what's coming up and what's been and what's coming. But at first I was like, how does she know about this? Until I realized it all. But I love that scene, yeah. Like, and then when Banner, just sort of says, like, oh, so why did he give Strange the Time Stone? And then she sort of realizes, oh, he must have, he is the best of us. He must have had a reason really for giving Thanos the Time Stone, and then just hands it over just like that.
Yeah. And that was a really interesting way to talk that, and it wasn't too built up, but it was an interesting way for them to like also continue explaining how the timeline works in
to explain
Marvel
that
universe
a little bit more and give us some of the rules.
And I think that was good, because if they're ever going to do this weird time travel thing again, at least there's been rules set, so we can call them out. Like, hey, wait, you mentioned back here, right. You guys can't break your own rules. So then let's go then with Iron Man and Ant-Man going after the Tesseract. So they almost like they try to give Tony a heart attack basically to steal the Tesseract, and at some point during this whole debacle, Loki gets it and floof disappears, and he's gone.
He's gone. Yeah, I think this is a setup maybe for the Loki TV series that's coming out late. I think later this year or early next on the Disney Plus streaming service. Maybe that seems to be what the internet is speculating.
Yeah, that's kind of also in my mindset, because like I said, this kind of, it's weird because it's not going with normal. Or it's weird. There's no normal time travel rules, but we've been so accustomed to this weird butterfly effect rules that when you think about it, with Loki disappearing during that time, that means he was never in prison to go into Thor: The Dark World. So he was never there. So it's weird. Like it's like all these butterfly effects, but that's not how it works, and it's interesting to speculate. So, but it's fun that, okay, actually, now mentioning Thor: The Dark World, let's head into Thor and Rocket, heading into that time to retrieve the Reality Stone. And, oh my god, I can't remember the actress who played Thor's ex-girlfriend.
Rene Russo.
Yes. Like, I wonder how much they paid her to just be in the scene.
For that one scene, yeah.
No words or anything.
Yeah. But that was a great scene that they had together, and it's probably one of her best scenes in the 3 movies that she's been in. And
it was good. It was also good character development for Thor to once again see his mother one more time.
Yeah, and have that conversation, and I mean, we'd all love to be able to do that sort of thing, and it's just such a great conversation and a scene, really. Like, yeah, he. She knows just talking with him, looking in his eye, like, what's with your eye and all that stuff. And just, she knows this is not her Thor, and that he's from the future. And I guess she doesn't, I don't know. I think he's wants to warn her about what's going to happen, with her dying in the future. But I think she doesn't want to know. That was how I remember watching the scene, right. I think. Yeah. Yes. And he wants to, but knows he can't. And then, just such a really great and this another really awesome, great human scene. And
then Rocket on his own accord, because he is a thief by trade, is able to acquire the goop, as Thor said it. And at that point, after that conversation with his mother, he retrieves. I can't ever pronounce. There you go. Okay, you can say it. I'm going to call it the hammer. I'm going to call it the hammer. Move forward. It is extremely hard to say it. I can say it once. It's the hammer for the rest of the show.
That's it.
But
Mjolnir. But yeah, like, I love that. Where it's just like, yep, still worthy, still got it.
that is a great scene because it's a good way to for him internally to know that he still has what it takes to wield something that took him from the first movie to acquire. So then let's okay, so they get their job done. So let's jump with Rhodey and Nebula, and then we'll hop in with Black Widow and Hawkeye, because that's a very good scene too. So with Rhodey and Nebula, this is interesting about them because they've always kind of been like the side characters. So and Nebula has actually had some this movie and some of the other movies have really developed her character too a lot, actually.
Nebula is one of the best characters in this movie, I think, and she has one of the best storylines, I think. I mean, everyone does have some great ones, but she's part of she's not sidelined in this one. She's part of the main cast, and has a really important role in it. And like when they go back, it's I guess they go to this scene of the first Guardians of the Galaxy movie, which is hilarious to watch from watching from their perspective as you see Peter Quill.
James,
you got me?
Okay. I heard you say Peter Quill and then nothing.
Oh no, that's all right. Do you want me to go back?
Oh, okay. I thought you cut off for a second too.
Okay. No, that's okay.
Yeah. So no, yeah, like you said, we get a different perspective with Peter. Him doing it's a very famous moment for him where you just see him just singing with the music, because Guardians have one of the best soundtracks, and it's interesting. And then you get him just karaokeing while everyone else is just like out there just like watching him, and it's a funny scene.
Yeah, and Rhodey's just like, oh, I get it, he's an idiot. Just hilarious.
Yeah, and then they conk him, they grab his tools, they take the thing, and this is where it gets interesting. So let's talk then a little bit about how what year is that again? It doesn't really matter. It's past. Let's talk past Thanos and how Nebula kind of accidentally tipped him off.
Oh yeah, 2014. I think it was from the first Guardians.
Okay, so we'll say 2014 Thanos, before he's gotten all the stones, and he gets knowledge of the future, and he finds out that he succeeds in all this, and then he sees himself die. And I like that he still has this mentality, like this, even though it's only been, is it 5 years?
Roughly.
2014. Yeah, about roughly 5 years. Like in 5 years, he's going to achieve what he desires, that it took him this long. And it shouldn't surprise the audience how arrogant he is. Like it's only a 5 year difference, and this man has always been like this for an extremely long time, of this idea of just balance and the way the universe should be. So when he has this knowledge that he's going to achieve it one way or another now, and then knowing that his death is like going to happen as well, he's smart. He's smart enough to try to change said future and fix it. And there's also another thing where there's also a Thanos at this time where he knows about the Avengers. Like, it shouldn't surprise people that he has been keeping tabs on him, because during Infinity War, he notes to Tony that he is someone worthy to know his name. Like, he knows Stark.
Well, he's been aware of them since the first Avengers movie. I mean, he was part of the whole reason why the Chitauri army invaded New York in the first place, because he had done some sort of deal with Loki and everything. So yeah, he's been aware of them all the way since back then.
Yeah, I had a couple people in my group like wondering like why does he care? Like he's scared. They've been a thorn in his plans for now 2 years, 2012,
Yeah.
2 years at that point. So they're not just some random people he can normally kill. They've already stopped him from getting 2 stones at that point. So that's an interesting thing. So let's then get into Black Widow and Hawkeye going to, I forget the name of the planet, but they go and grab the Soul Stone, which for anyone who's should have watched Infinity Stone, like we knew someone was going to die.
Yeah, and when we go down, I was ready to, I guess, jumped him from himself with the edge. I thought, okay, yeah, this is how it's going to happen. And it was a really interesting, I guess, Hawkeye, well, I over who's going to jump over to the edge, and which is actually kind of really like, because the rule is, you throw over your most thing you love most. Correct?
Yes, correct. It's
and so what makes me if I kill myself, is that how's that going to do it? Like this shot myself. I'm just I'm just listening to this red skull dude that I've never seen before, and I'm just kill myself.
Actually, give me 1 second. You are cutting out for me, actually.
Actually, yeah, I can see the little thing saying it's going red.
Okay, tell me when it's going yellow/green. Testing 1, 2.
I can hear you.
Okay, you can hear me, but you're cutting out for me. Okay, what is it looking like now? Right now?
I think he's still on it. It's back to.
Try again. Testing 1, 2.
I can hear you.
Okay. Okay, you talk now.
I can hear you. Test 1, 2.
You're a little echoey now. Talk again.
Testing 1, 2.
Okay, there we go.
I'm back.
Yeah, you're back to normal. Okay.
There we go.
Yeah, we're just too excited. The internet can't keep track of us.
Exactly. Everyone on the podcast is still.
Okay, so Black. Yeah, so yes, something. A soul has to be given up for a soul at that point, and that you're right. Thinking of that, like in a way, it's thinking of it like a sense of suicide is not what. It's interesting because some people thought that way too. When some people were like, "Why are they trying to kill themselves?" Like if you understood these two characters' relationship, you would understand that they've been together for a very long time, and they've formed something close to a family relationship because of how they've known each other, and kind of also what the 5-year gap with kind of Hawkeye going through that of what Black Widow went through in her younger years as a spy and all the things like that. They've mentioned like they've done a lot of things that they're not proud of, and they've each done things to try to fix those things. And then the moment when Black Widow died, like it didn't surprise me too much, but it did hit me still.
Yeah, I definitely had the feels with that. Like we've had Scarlett Johansson now since Iron Man 2, and yeah, what you go like that, it's just like wow, did not see that coming, and it was it was a tough one. It really was.
It was another heart-wrenching scene, just seeing her body just lay down there, and seeing Hawkeye retrieve the stone and him like feeling it, and then you get the moment with everyone, kind of mourning her a little bit. I was slightly actually a little disappointed on her farewell a little bit, because we have 3 farewells in this and we'll talk about each of them, but I felt hers was very underwhelming, like looking back at it and watching
compared to the others. Compared to the others, she probably didn't get as much as the other characters did, but still a good scene.
It is still a good scene. So the one thing we forgot to mention, because now we're going little piece by piece, is that because Thanos knows about the future and everything, and it knows that there's 2 nebulas, they kidnap the future nebula and swap them over with past nebula, and they kind of do a bait and switch, and they all go to the future with past nebula, so Thanos can go to the future. They acquire all the stones and everything, and it's time to like do the snap, and they do it. And they bring everyone back, and I'm glad that they do that. And I think at that point also Hulk mentioned that he tried to bring back Natalia back with it, but he wasn't able to. Which is also a good way for us to know how the Soul Stone works too, in a sense that even with the power of the Gauntlet, you can't bring someone back from the Soul Stone. And that's another great way to set rules for the world.
Yeah, and I guess I like you said, the power of the stones themselves. I mean, that part I was a little bit confused about, but because I just thought when you had the Infinity Stones, you could do virtually anything you wanted, but I guess there is still limitations. So
at least for the Marvel Cinematic Universe has set their limitations, and they're giving us an idea. Like they probably somewhere in the multitude in the multiverse, there are some that can do a little bit more, but I'm glad that they're setting rules for the moviegoers. Like, okay, that makes sense for us, and now I'm glad. So another reason for us to call them back, like, hey, those aren't supposed to do that because the way you said it last time. But at this point, everyone's back. Everyone's happy at this point, and then Thanos comes, and he brings down the house, literally. Oh God! I thought
what an entrance! What an entrance!
That's an entrance, and then Hulk's like for the most part, he's horribly injured because of the gauntlet, because of what it can do.
Well, it burns up half his body.
Yeah, it honestly crippled him at that point, which surprises me because to my understanding, Hulk has always had such a high healing factor to a point that going a little bit into the future too is he's still pretty injured during the scenes later on. He still has his arm in a brace and everything. That's interesting. That how much power did the gauntlet do to harm the Hulk that he's still that injured? That's a lot.
Yeah, that's it. And the fact that it even burned up a lot of and really injured Thanos when he used it the second time around. Thanos is probably even more powerful than Hulk was. He's lucky to be alive. I didn't understand the bit where he's it's mostly gamma radiation and all that sort of stuff. Whether he was just making that up or not to take the hit, I don't know. But I thought that was interesting. There's been no mention of that before.
No, yeah, that was interesting. It was interesting because I don't know if they just wrote that in for some reason or something, but for the most part, when they were all discussing who was going to do it, Thor really wanted to do it, but like we've talked before, he did have that little talk with his mother, but even then, he was still not the right mindset to do it.
That's right.
For normal people, who are pretty troubled at that point, going through I would say going through one session of therapy is good to start, but it'll take time to heal.
Exactly. Yeah.
And I at that point I think it was like appropriate for like, yeah, Thor, you're still not good, and for the most part, the Hulk, he had not only did he have the strongest, like physically strong ability to do it, but I think he still had the most mental at that point, because he was the more settled, because he was able not only to still be Banner and Hulk at the same time, but he had a vision also try to bring Natalia back. So he had something all together for that. So that was also a good scene, because that's also, the Hulk didn't really get too much like, just he was like really a lot of sciencey and then kind of jokey Hulk.
Yeah, it's a very different Hulk to what we're used to. In fact, even in the last couple of movies, even because he didn't really get much to do. Well, we only saw him really at the start and get his ass kicked at the start of Infinity War, and then he didn't really want to come out for the rest of the film. So, and it's something actually that I'm talking with a few other people. Some people were disappointed to see that Hulk. We didn't really get to see Hulk get, I guess any redemption really, or get his any bit of revenge, I guess, on Thanos in this one.
Yeah. Okay. I can see that. I can see that a little bit, because he did, but I would say to that this is not the same Hulk that got destroyed by Thanos. This is a whole new person.
This is totally different, yeah, because this is just Bruce Banner in the Hulk body, pretty much.
Yeah, so that would be my argument to that notion. So we're gonna get to the big stuff. We'll split up the main, like, crazy battle into two parts, and then we'll get to like the finale at the end.
Sounds good.
And we're making actually good time. Yay! I know we're trying to do it as best we can.
It's hard. It's hard because there's so much in this movie.
Oh no,
there's
yeah,
so
we
much.
can probably talk again for another episode of crazy amounts. Once you see it again,
Yeah,
it's so good. It's because now we're gonna talk. We're gonna talk about the first half of the battle with Captain America, Iron Man, Thor versus, I'm gonna say, younger Thanos. And it's a great start. You see them on the ledge looking down at Thanos just sitting there, and then Thor calls the hammer and Stormbreaker, and it's like, that is a fantastic scene. You kind of see like this Viking lord. Oh, that's good. Oh, it's good.
No, it's great just watching that all, like, as they're just going after Thanos like that, and Thanos is just taking them on. It's amazing to watch that.
No, yeah, it's a fun. It's like, overall, it's really good fun fanfare. Just seeing them go at it and doing their best, but they're still not that strong to be able to beat this man or Titan. And I've gotten actually some criticism that, like, why, like, Thor should have been able to, because he was kind of holding himself before when he had the gauntlet. But this is, like, people have to remember, this is a Thor that has been through a lot in the last 5 years. He's not in his most physically conditioned, and I know some people might argue, humans and Asgardians might be different. Yeah, but he's still not mentally 100% there. He's like, he has the mindset, but he's probably there's still probably something slightly holding him back. But yeah, I don't know. Any thoughts there?
Yeah, well, I mean, it's like we said before. Like, I mean, he's still suffering from that first hit. I mean, his confidence is probably hit as well for Thor, and he's just not in fighting shape. He's pretty much just been drinking beer and playing Fortnite for the last 5 years. So you're gonna be a little bit out of shape, and a little bit, your skills are gonna be down a little bit.
So overall, that was it was fun watching that, because then we get some really fun scenes where you see Thor charging Iron Man's suit. You see, let's get to one of the best scenes.
Are we getting to one of the best parts? Yeah, I was waiting for you to get to that.
Yeah, I'll let you say it.
Oh man, well, there's just one part where I guess Thor is, well, I guess Thanos is really laying into Thor, and then we see Mjolnir there on the ground, and then you just see it slowly get picked up, and who's holding it but Captain America. That was one of my favorite scenes of the movie, just when he picks it up, and that, like, in our screening was when everyone erupted, and just, yeah, as I'm sure every single one of your screenings, the same thing when Captain America just picks up Mjolnir and then lays into Thanos.
Oh yeah, no, every crowd I was in, they were ablaze, and God, that was a scene. Oh, that was fun.
And it's so cool that's been teased. That was teased all the way back in Avengers: Age of Ultron, where there's that little scene where they're having the party at Avengers Tower, where everyone's trying to see if they can pick up the hammer, and Captain America goes and he goes to pick it up, and it kind of just wiggles it a little bit, just moves it just a little bit, and Thor notices that, and he's just like, has a little silent freak out to himself, and then we see that Captain America, if anyone else is worthy, it's Cap.
Yeah, and there's been a lot of debate of, like, why was he able to wield the hammer now and not before. And a lot of people are making callbacks to an interview that Kevin Feige had, where he was asked that exact question, like, why is Cap not worthy? And there's some people who are speculating that, even though he, like, nudged it, maybe he didn't want to, like, mess with Thor's ego at the time.
Yeah, he might not have picked it. He might have just noticed that he could pick it up, but decided not to.
But some other things I've heard is that at this point also is Captain America is still also struggling with stuff like knowing about Buckley killing Tony's parents, the struggle. There's a lot. He's still, at this point also, there's still a lot of story development for Cap and his struggles too. So maybe at that point he was slightly worthy, but he's, after everything he's endured to this point, he's finally fully worthy. But that's all speculation, and all that matters is now he can wield the hammer and wield Thor's magic at that point.
And it's awesome to see as well. It's so good.
And then we get a fun scene later that we'll talk about, that where Captain America has Stormbreaker and Thor has the hammer, and like, yeah, give me the other one.
That's right. You have the little one.
So they're fighting everything. Even with here's a good thing is, like, even with Thor's hammer and his broken shield and everyone fighting him, they're still losing, and Captain America gets so beaten down physically, and you're just seeing this, and this, every time I see it, you can just feel the dread that a normal person would feel when such an overpowering entity is in front of you. Like what more can you do to fight this? And then, Thanos starts sending his armies down, and you just see this wonderful, like, landscape shot with Thanos and his armies and Captain America on the floor with his broken shield. Those few moments feel like they last a lifetime. And then we get, since it's sometimes forgetful that they did the snap and brought everyone back, but then when you get the little callback with Falcon saying on your left, a fun callback back from
which was great. I love that. Yeah, callback from his first interaction with him at the start of Winter Soldier.
And then so what was your reaction to the portal opening scene?
Oh, that's the best part of the whole movie. It really is. I was crying. I had tears when that happened. It's just so. I'm getting goosebumps just thinking about it again. Actually, I mean, it's Alan Silvestri's score and everything just perfectly just builds up, and then we just see all of the sorcerer Doctor Strange's portals opening up, and every single character is coming through, and then who do we get first? We get Black Panther and the Dora Milaje coming through, and then Spider-Man comes through. That got a big round of applause from my screening, with everyone just going nuts when Spider-Man swings in. It's the best part of the whole film. That's why we have this whole. That's why we've had this whole build up of all these movies for a scene like this.
No, and I couldn't agree with you more. It's moments like this, these collaborations, these giant scenes. It's what we've spent 11 years to get to, and it's nearly perfect. Like, someone out there could probably say something, but it's the closest to perfect we'll get for it, because honestly,
to a fan of these things, it's perfect. Yeah, because they could have added another 15 minutes of everyone fighting. I would have been happy. Like, 15 more minutes, that's fine. I've been here for almost 3 hours. Show me more fighting. But yes, we get such a, and everyone, for the most part, everyone gets a scene. Like, everyone gets a moment in this battle scene, and I like that. Like, everyone's here, and we can talk about everyone being here, but there's so many characters. It's hard. Yeah, you can't talk about everyone, but everyone is. So I don't think anyone's given short shrift or anything like that in the scene. Like, obviously they're not going to be in it as much. I think if anyone's probably the only one that isn't given a lot is Bucky, is the Winter Soldier himself. I think I don't remember seeing much of him, but everyone else. So I think. Really gets some great scenes.
So I'm wondering about, here are some fun surprises that they threw to us. Was seeing Pepper in her Iron Man suit. That was a fun surprise. Thoughts on that?
Well, yeah, I didn't have many. I mean, I remember that she was in the suit in Iron Man 3. That's one of my least favorite of the movies, of all the Marvel movies. So I've only watched that movie once, but I do remember she was in the suit for a brief time in that. And yeah, it was good to see her, in the suit though, again, fighting as well.
That husband and the husband and wife fighting duo, that was really fun. I like that. Let's see here. So let's continue on then. So there's a scene that's been talked about online, and I think you know what I'm talking about. It's so the gauntlet. Everyone's trying to go for the gauntlet with Infinity Stones, and they have like this keep away for the most part, where everyone has it. You have first Hawkeye has it, then Black Panther has it. And then Spider-Man has it, and Spider-Man being Spider-Man, he has these quick one-liners when he's like on Valkyrie and with Pepper, and then Thanos is kind of losing. And it's interesting too is that we get Scarlet Witch, and I forget her scene, but she has one of the most interesting scenes, because this is a Thanos that's never met Scarlet Witch, but she has so
She's
much.
Met him.
Yeah, she has so much anger. She has so many strong feelings towards this person that, on top of that, she's so strong, like power-wise at least, that like she's one of the strongest people out there, and as people forget that. Yeah. And it takes a bombardment to the entire like battlefield to stop her, in a sense. And like that's a testament to her character. Like, not only was she able to stand up to this person who kills someone she truly loves, but also showcases how strong of a person she is as a superhero. I'll say it that way. And I'm looking forward to her show with Vision, and I wonder what that is, if it's a prequel or future stuff. I don't know, because they haven't really talked too much about like the Black Widow movie, the Hawkeye, Vision, and apparently now there's a Ghost Rider series coming out too.
Ghost Rider as well. I didn't know that.
Yeah, just got announced a couple days ago.
Oh, right. There you go. Yeah, it'll be good to see. And yeah, I don't really know much about what's happening with these TV shows either. I mean, I think the Black Widow one will probably be a prequel of some sort, maybe with Hawkeye and the Vision and Scarlet Witch TV series. I heard something about being set in the 1950s. I don't know what how much truth is in that or what the go is. Maybe that's sort of like another time travel, Legends of Tomorrow kind of thing. Who knows?
Interesting. But that's also a fun scene. But now let's talk about this very talked about scene where, Peter, they're getting bombarded. So here comes Captain Marvel. Like notably, if anyone didn't watch Captain Marvel, there's a few people from a couple screenings that I went, they didn't see Captain Marvel. So they didn't understand her power scaling and how powerful she was. So when she flew in, destroyed the ship in about one go, and what was that? Yeah, she's pretty strong, trust me. And they kind of also scaled her to Thanos too when she was fighting him. They didn't make her too overpowered. It was going to take more than her to defeat Thanos, and it was a nice callback to earlier in the film where she she was serious about going to kill Thanos, but they said it's going to take a team to defeat him, and it did finally at the end again.
Yeah, so, I mean she's kind of like their version almost of Superman or Supergirl. I mean, she's just that powerful, and then when she makes that entrance into the battle, it's awesome. They're just charging through the ship and just wrecking shit.
So the scene I want to talk to you about, and you know what scene I'm talking about, is when they showcase the entire female superheroes.
Oh yeah.
That scene, for the most part, I liked it. I liked it. There's no there's a lot of people who are upset with it, and it's an interesting thing because it has been a topic for the last couple of years that there aren't that many female superheroes out there, because we're living in a time where superhero movies are now officially a genre. It's their own thing, and this talk that there's not that many, and then having this scene to showcase that there are a ton of them, and in a sense, it they did it in a way, shoehorned it in, but I was happy about that they do that, because I was happy to see. I was happy because not just 5 minutes ago we saw 3 dudes fighting this one other dude. Come on, guys.
I mean, I don't understand why anyone would have a problem with it. Really, I thought it was a great scene, a great shot, really, and and it is a reminder that Marvel do have these amazing female characters. It's I know a lot of people have been with DC and everything like that. We've had Wonder Woman, and that's people saying that was the first female-led superhero movie. But I guess it's just a bit of a reminder that Marvel does have some amazing female characters as well.
Yeah. So I just wanted to get your thoughts of that scene and your things.
I thought it was awesome. So I didn't have a problem with it.
So let's get to the big finale. So Captain Marvel kind of has some shambles with Thanos, and even at that point she's struggling, and then Thanos just snatches the Power Stone and punches her, or knocks her out literally. And Tony's there, and then we get this very, very strong scene where he was able to steal the stones, because of nanomachines, people. Anyone out there, he was able to solve it because it was nanotechnology.
I guess.
So a lot of people are still trying to figure it out. It was because his suits are made of nanotechnology. That's the only way they did it. But we get this very, very strong scene of Tony using the stones to snap Thanos and his troops away. And with that very, very iconic line of, "I am Iron Man."
Great shot. Right, yeah. Loved it. Absolutely.
I found out that was actually ad-lib too.
Oh, really? Yeah, this is
yes. And oh god, and then you get this moment, because it's interesting because we've known for a while that Robert Downey Jr.'s contracts have been up and he was kind of done with the character, so we knew there was a way he was gonna. It was interesting is he didn't have to die because now we knew he had a family, so maybe he could have just retired. I actually had that feeling that he was just gonna retire. And just be with his family. I had it in my feeling during the first time, and I was watching it. You know what? There might be a chance because also I thought that Steve Rogers during the whole time heist thing, that something was going to happen. He was going to be stuck back in time, and I think we also glossed over that they had to go back into 1970s, but that's fine for now. And I thought he was going to get stuck back there, and he was going to sacrifice himself and stay back in time. And that was the way he was gonna finish off his story. But luckily they stole some pin particles. So actually, I kind of actually had some at that point. I actually thought he still had a chance to live and just retire. That was gonna be his end. And then when he did the snap, you knew he was dead because of how much because of his human body, basically. And at first, I'm going to be honest. The first time I saw him do this, the scene where he was like dying, and you saw Rhodey, then Spider-Man, and then Pepper. Actually, I thought it was pretty awkward when Spider-Man was having a lot of the screen time. It just felt weird instead of his wife.
Yeah,
but
that's kind of what
But then,
aside, really, so she can have last words with her husband.
Then, after watching it a few more times, and then listening and hearing things from other people, and just kind of getting a wider idea of other people's thoughts, and kind of building a new thought during that scene. Like, Rhodey was there, and he's always been there for Tony, so it was good for him to be the first one there. That scene then with Spider-Man, because, like, earlier in the time, you see Spider-Man, and then Iron Man finally hugs him. We forgot to talk about that, where he's finally back and everything, That's a very touching scene. And then, it was interesting, because then you kind of see a reverse of what happened with Tony and Spider-Man there, and Tony's going away, and Spider-Man's there, and you're seeing, because people forget and we don't know how Uncle Ben died in this universe, or if he ever existed. Oh no, he did. It's kind of like hinted a little bit, but there's like another father figure that Spider-Man or Peter Parker just lost. So I think it's a good way to portray it, having him just have a little bit more screen time than Pepper, because Pepper's been with him for so long, and just having those words, you can rest now. James? We had a little bit of hiccup, and if you're, depending on how I edited this, we're gonna sound a little different. I'll do my best to fix our magnificent voices. And just as we were getting towards the end, so let's finish this off since it's about that time.
Let's do it.
So we were talking about like Tony's final moment, and with Rhodey, Spider-Man,
with Peter and Pepper,
everyone. So okay, go ahead and go with your thoughts again.
Oh man, uh, I think. Oh man. Okay. Right. So, sorry. So, really, I mean, it was such a powerful scene with where it did finish off. I mean, he's just laying there, almost like kind of catatonic. I wasn't actually sure at first if he was even still alive after it all happened, but then you can slowly see him start breathing and everything like that, and it's like, okay, you know. But yeah, he's still with us, and I was wondering, like, is there a chance he's going to pull through with this? But obviously, no, he didn't. And but it was just, it was just beautiful, really, when Pepper's like, just tells him, it's okay, you can relax. It's, we've got this sort of thing, and and he just slowly passes away. It's just I mean, we've been watching Tony Stark since 2007, I think, and no, 2008, with that first Iron Man, and he's just been kind of the constant throughout, and oh man, it was just gut wrenching, like you said earlier, with to watch him go like that. I mean, it's something we were probably expecting, but man, it just I was in tears again.
So before we get to the funeral scene, that's a very, very touching scene. So, like, for me, like that scene is one of the few things that I always actually it hits me, gets me tear. I think at the most in total through the film, I've at least my first showing, I shed a few tears. It's hard not to follow these characters long, and you so much time into
it. You know them.
Yeah,
that's it. Like, you feel like you know them.
And I actually had during my third showing, actually second showing, my second showing, since I can't already, like, I'm really picky when it comes to like seating, because I have my eyes are a little bit wonky, I'm gonna say. So I'm it might be a little snobbish, but I try to get a seat like further back and a little centered, but closer to the left. For some reason, my vision just shifts a little. That's also a reason I can't watch. Also, a reason I can't watch 3D films.
Oh, you don't need to. You're not missing anything.
That's what I hear, but that's just, I feel something that's just people just saying it for me. But anyways,
I'm glad that gimmick is pretty much almost gone now.
But anyways, like, I was in the second showing, I didn't have like the best seating, but since I already saw the film, I was just there for the second time just to feel it. And there was this family behind. There are two children. Like, one was in their was like a teenage, youngest was probably about, I'm gonna age about between 9, 10, or 11, around that age. And this at first they were the kid was that typical. He was like kind of being slightly annoying, a little bit talking for a lot of scenes. But then towards halfway through the film, he was saying a lot of things, but he was having like the time of his life. Like right now, our generation, some of the generations who have lived through this, there is not going to be probably another film like this or set of films like this for a very long time. And
absolutely. Yeah.
So, like, for him, seeing this for his first time, like I didn't care. You could scream, shout, whatever, because this was the time of his life that he's having right here. Like, he was screaming during the Captain America Thor scene. He was crying when Captain America died. He was actually asking his mom, why did Black Widow die? And then his brother told him, remember back in Infinity War, like, oh, and then he just, his voice, you could hear it in his voice, like he felt it. And like, for any other time, that would have been a very annoying thing to be as a film. You don't want people talking, but at this point, and I was kind of actually a little bit fortunate. Maybe I gave it a little bit more because I already saw the film and I was happening. But he felt everything and was honestly in tears. And a few other people I was with when Tony and then you get this very, very wonderful funeral scene with a callback to, like you met, another callback to our show too. To this episode. To this episode is the old reactor core, where it's like it's proof that Tony had a heart, and it's a very touching moment. Scene. Like everyone
misty-eyed. If you're not misty-eyed with that scene, there's something wrong with you. And even like when I know I was sniffling even when Happy goes up to his daughter and there's another callback to the first movie where she's like, I want a cheeseburger, and he just says, I'll get you all the cheeseburgers you want. Like I just the way Jon Favreau delivers that, it just it just really makes you want to cry.
Just like talking about it, you can feel it. Talking about it, you feel it. Talking about it, you live that moment, and you'll relive that moment watching it again, because like we keep saying it, but it is something that we experience. These have been part of our lives.
Exactly.
And like we've invested so much time, and I'm happy that we got to this. I think the writers such a fantastic job, and the cinematography was well done. Oh, like asking for more, much, because they gave us, I think, what the best we can for the amount of time they were able to do it.
Yeah. To get through as much as they did, there's a lot of fan service in there, which I think is done right. The whole movie is a fan service movie, because you're not going to see this movie unless you're a fan, and so that's why it almost is showing like a bit of a greatest hits reel in a way, showing like where they do go back to that first Avengers movie, they go back to the Guardians movie. They go to Thor: The Dark World. That's not exactly from the greatest hits, but but it's important. But there's just so much fan service that's done right. Because when you watch a lot of other superhero movies or genre movies of some sort, it just feels very ham-fisted and thrown in there. Like remember this, and it takes you out of the movie. But this it's just done perfectly.
Yeah, and I couldn't have said it better. Then we get this wonderful scene. Then it's time to return stones and return the everything, and then we get a scene which didn't have surprised me, but it did a little bit. Was Captain America returning everything normal and stay back, and I had this feeling like earlier before I thought he was just gonna get stuck. But it was always kind of hinted. He's lived his life so long, served the people, to serve his friends, and it was time for him. Finding basically life,
to get something for him.
And so having him seeing like old Steve Rogers, and then having that moment with Falcon, it just felt right. I don't know why, but it did, because a lot of people have been saying like he should have been Bucky, but I don't think so. Like I think for the films, the relationship between the newfound relationship Falcon and Cap just feels right, because
and it's not like, I know Bucky is the one that takes over the Captain America mantle, I guess, in the comics, but this is the comics in a way. This is the movies, and it's its own thing, it's its own entity, and whilst I know Bucky and Steve have their relationship and everything, but Falcon and him also have that bond as well, and so I don't have a problem at all with Falcon taking over the Captain America shield, the shield, the mantle, so to speak. I don't have a problem with that at all. I guess it's just going to be it's going to be harder for him because he doesn't have super soldier serum in him, whereas Bucky does. But I still think he has the same ideals and everything like that Steve Rogers does.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting moving forward now.
It is. It is, yeah. It's definitely the end of an era. Like, I mean, I know, like, we're sort of in phase 4
yes.
of the Marvel movies, but it almost actually feels like, those were mini phases as part of one big phase, and this is the end of the real, overall phase 1 in a way.
Kind of. In a sense, yeah. Actually, we still have one more movie, phase 4, Spider-Man.
Oh, we do, yeah. Yeah. Excuse me, I forgot we do too. It's hard to, I
know
about that one coming out.
It's coming around the corner too. It's gonna sneak up on us. But yeah, is there anything else you want to talk before we close this off?
I think the one thing, I wish we knew more of watching it was answering the question, was Thanos right in what he wanted to do with wiping out half the population throughout the universe? I don't think we really ever find out, like, was it a good thing or not? I mean, we saw a few things and stuff, but like, I don't think there was a really definitive thing. Like, was Thanos correct in what he did or not? Like, yeah, I would have liked to have seen
kind of like a escape of the, like, getting an idea from across the universe and like how people have, after this 5-year gap, how things have changed, his effects, something like that, right?
Yeah, I wanted to see more of the world really, and how the rest of the world reacted to all of this, and got through it all. Like, I mean, you see little bits and pieces and things like that, but it's still more from the Avengers' perspectives. And I wanted to see more from from the rest of the world. And maybe we'll see more of that later in coming movies or TV shows. But I just wanted to see a little bit more from in the movie itself.
All right. So yeah. Oh, such a wonderful film. Can't wait to see it again.
Yeah, it's definitely I don't know. I suck at ranking these things, and so I don't know especially where this falls in my rankings or not. But it's definitely in the top 5. But it's there with Infinity War. It's there with the first Iron Man, the first Avengers. There for me, even the first Iron Man, I think, was probably even in my top 5. But it's definitely roughly in there somewhere.
All right, then. So,
yeah.
If you made it this far, you're probably a fan and you enjoyed our talks and you probably have your own opinions. Let us know. Find us on different formats. But for now, let's find out where they can find you.
Me, yeah. Okay, so you can find me on the internet. I guess, social media is at superhero_strength on Instagram, and you can also check me out with the Superhero Strength podcast, which is it's on the internet. Just Google it, you'll find it.
And I'll have links below. Like I said, fun podcast, very inspirational Instagram. Go check them out.
Thank you.
As always, you can always hunt me down on the internet, Pirate Dominus, around Instagram, Twitter, Twitch. I think that's about it as far as hunting me. Always happy to catch you back here on the Convoluted Podcast and some of my other random other podcasts. So, yeah. James, it's always fun to talk with you. And
likewise, Jesus. I had a great time recapping on this whole thing. This is definitely, actually, this is probably the first big conversation I've had about the movie with anyone. So it was good.
Thank you. I appreciate it. Oh,
Yeah.
it's oh god, it's such a good film. Hmm.
Oh yeah. Most of my other friends aren't as passionate about this as me, so it's good to talk to someone else that is just as passionate.
All right, so I hope everyone listening, you guys are. If you made it this far, you guys are as passionate as we are. So, thanks again for listening. Until next time, see ya.